Back in Gator Nation, it's the 204 update. Excuse us, a couple minutes late here, but not an issue. Corey Bender, Keith Niebuhr are working phones. Keith is outside in Gainesville, freezing. Corey, nice and warm inside his home. We've got more signings on a packed National Signing Day. We'll start in the portal.
Yep.
Which is what we've already talked about, but a big signing in San Diego State offensive tackle Brandon Kenshaw Dixon committed on his trip last week. I had a chance to talk to him and his father. Corey, I know this is a signing day for high school kids, but a portal guy, 3 years starting experience. This is a guy who expect to jump into the starting lineup for the Gators this season.
Yeah, you would think so, Nick. I mean, he was top 15 offensive lineman in the transfer portal. I mean, I think going into this offseason, we all knew offensive line was going to be a major priority. Decent high school class, but as we all know, a lot of those kids aren't obviously SEC ready in year one, unless you're a Jordan Seaton or a very high level guy. So they had to hit the portal hard, and they got one of the better ones. And I think the main thing is here too, he has experience at left and right tackle. And I know Rob Sale and Darnell Stapleton, they're big on recruiting versatile guys that they can kind of plug in and play. You know, if there's an injury or whatnot, or they have to just kind of improve and put another guy in there. So I feel like overall it fits exactly what they want. And I think, Nick, correct me if I'm wrong, but he's been at San Diego State for 5 years. He was there 5 years?
I think so. The older guy.
Yeah, so either way, he's experienced. He's an older guy. And, yeah, man, I think like all kids, they want to make it to the NFL. I'm sure he's excited to get to the SEC to boost his stock. So I think it's a great fit for both parties. I don't know if you agree, but just that's my take on it.
Yeah, talking to him last Sunday, I think he mentioned the family atmosphere. I think you hear that a lot, but it seems to be important to everyone having that family atmosphere. He mentioned that, and two, obviously getting a chance to play in the SEC. Florida wasn't his only SEC offer. But you look at the depth chart and you're getting back Austin Barber. Damian George had his struggles. Cam Waits, do you play him inside or do you play him outside? So getting a guy in Kenshaw Dixon who can play left and right tackle, like you said, that kind of versatility makes me think, hey, this is a plug and play day one starter. And you get Miami day one. So as we move on, Florida picks up a commitment from defensive back Josiah Davis. Corey, what can we expect from Josiah?
Yeah, he's an interesting prospect because his junior film, he's primarily a quarterback. He's kind of Mr. Do-It-All for his high school. He comes from a high school, not the best talent level who he plays against. So you go to his school, this kid's like everything for his team at Berrien High School. So I think when it comes to safety, there's a lot of projecting, because they're looking at the traits on film. You're watching his quarterback film too. He has a good burst, really good acceleration. He's big. He's a bigger kid than many think too. When I saw him during the season, he's a legit 6'1", probably almost 190. So he passes the eye test well. He's a kid that I think from a physicality standpoint is kind of, I'm not going to say ahead of some of his peers, but you watch him, he does a good job of playing with leverage, drives through kids, which you don't see from many DBs in high school. So I think overall you have to be patient with him. There's a transition going on as far as him primarily being a quarterback. And I think with him, Florida was his biggest offer. He's happy to be a Gator. He's willing to put in the work, and it's going to take some time. I think over some time and kind of working with the staff, I think he'd be a solid player. It's just a lot of technical stuff he has to work on.
Florida also working in a new defensive back coach in Will Harris. So he will have a new coach when he arrives on campus. We go back to the trenches, Corey. Fletcher Westfall, big dude, has been committed for a while. Family just relocated from the DMV area, I think it was, into the Tampa area. Hosted Rob Sale, Darnell Stapleton at his new home. And the young man will be on the move again. Mom and dad are a little bit closer now, but hope he didn't unpack the boxes when he got to Tampa.
Yeah, no, I think with him, early in the, when he committed, there was a suspense down the stretch, Clemson, Florida, and ever since he committed to Florida, he's been locked in. And I thought as Florida started to slide a little bit during the season, I thought maybe that's a kid who could look around because he had so many offers. He took so many visits, very high educated kid, really kind of treats recruiting like a business. So I thought he might be one that looks around, but not only, like you said, Nick, his family moved down to Florida. They've been all in. He trusts Billy Napier. He loves the staff. So there's no recruiting. Obviously, there's no recruiting drama with him. And I would say he's the headliner in that group. 6'8", like you said, a big kid. consensus 4-star. It's funny. You look at his film, he has a lot of individual game highlights, not like a whole mid-season or senior film. So I'm trying to piece together everything he's done. But I think the main thing that sticks out is obviously his sheer size. He's a very mature kid too. Definitely kind of one of those hard workers who just clocks in, goes to work, clocks in, clocks out. And I think obviously right now he's more advanced as a run blocker. He's a big kid, man. So at the high school level, when it comes to pass pro, he sets a wall. And I mean, not many high schools really get around him, but he definitely has to improve in that part of his game. But I think this is a guy who could be a multi-year starter, over time. He's a massive kid.
Sticking with no drama, Teddy Foster sees to have committed a while back. Haven't heard from him. These are the kids that I appreciate these guys. I remember like a Duke Dawson back in the day. You do a commitment, and then we don't hear from you until signing day.
Yeah, no, so he was one of the ones when Corey Raymond left. We all knew Florida was one of his biggest offers. His sister went to school at Florida. That was like the offer he really wanted. So, but at the same time, when Corey Raymond left, I thought you could maybe look around and, North Carolina schools like Miami still recruited him. But I just think the opportunity to stay, obviously, in Florida, play for an SEC school, obviously a school with a really good tradition in the secondary, that was all appealing to him. And then when you watch his film about, watching how he's going to translate to Florida, I think he's more of a 4-star kid. I think he's a kid who could definitely outdo his ranking. I mean, he's one of those new age quarterbacks, about 6'2", very lengthy and long. Really does a good job of getting his hands on passes. And I think the main thing for him is just kind of adding weight, getting stronger. But another kid, when you watch competition level, it's not the best. But when you separate the competition, just kind of focus on him, you see a lot of really intriguing traits. And a guy that I think would have a really nice career at Florida. I think a kid that's very driven too. I went on his Instagram yesterday, and he had a picture of him like sitting with a football in a tree. He's like, I want this so bad. And I was like, man, that sticks out to me. A kid who's just hungry to get better. So I think this is a kid that Florida will definitely like. Florida fans will definitely like.
And we've talked about no drama, but signing day wouldn't be complete without some drama. Hayes Fawcett of On3 tweeted right before we got on the air that LJ McCrae, there's a high possibility that he won't sign today. Obviously, a 5-star commitment, probably, in my opinion, the second best player in the class outside of DJ Lagway, maybe even better or as good as DJ. But obviously, quarterback is a position that you have to have. Corey, what is the latest? We know that Auburn has been coming in heavy. Took a visit there after a state championship game. What can we report on LJ McCrae at 10:12 in the morning on Wednesday?
Yeah, so he was supposed to sign at 10 a.m. I spoke to his coach yesterday. So around this time, he was supposed to sign. And we've all known, throughout the last couple of weeks, Florida's felt good about holding on. The in-homes went really good. I think with Florida, too, like he likes the opportunity to have a rebuild. He said that with Daytona Beach Mainland. That kind of reminds him of a situation a few years ago. So he's been locked in with Florida. Mike Pearson's been a big deal. But like you said, this morning he said he might not sign. And that's largely because Auburn's still pushing very hard. Florida State's still in the picture. And that's why when we did our breakdowns all week, we kept including him. Even though we thought he was going to sign with Florida, this is a 5-star kid in the NIL era that's getting pushed from every school across the map. And from what we've been told is Auburn, they're a dire, not dire need, but they heavily need defensive linemen right now in this class. And we're Keith reported this too, that they're coming hard with NIL for any of their top D-line targets. And that connects with Amaris Williams too. So you have to kind of think down here in the stretch, National Signing Day morning, was an NIL situation where the offer was just too good to pass up. Maybe he wants to, huddle with his family again. Hey, are we making the right decision? He's a high character kid, man, who, he doesn't reveal too much. He knows the recruiting process in and out. So I think for him to do this and take a step back, I don't think it's some play where I want to be in the headlines. I think he is kind of torn. This conversation's going by, taking place with his family. Until I hear more, I'm probably sticking with Florida. It might be one of those back and forths, but no, if you're a Florida fan, if you're a coaching staff member at Florida, you're on the edge of your seat right now. This is a guy who can play day one. College ready size. So, I thought what you said was interesting, Nick, too. Him and Lagway, who's a better recruit? Quarterback is always, like you said, the face of the program. Probably has to wait a year before he really gets on the field as a starter. But I think LJ McCrae can play a lot in year one. So, we'll keep digging into it. But, Auburn's a school we're really monitoring right now.
Yeah, and I'm going to stay consistent on this. LJ McCrae is the guy. I said when he committed, saying it in a positive light for Florida. This is a guy. This is someone who Georgia wanted. Obviously, Auburn wants. Miami, Texas, Alabama, you name it. Anyone would take LJ McCrae on their offer or on their roster. These are the battles you need to win to start accelerating that rebuild process. So getting a signature from him, whether it's today, tomorrow, January 7th, 10th, 12th, and getting him on campus is of utmost importance for Florida. We're going to be we're going to be checking that out throughout the day. We'll be back here at noon, so make sure you're tuned in. Tons of updates up to the minute on Gators Online. If you're not subscribed, you can do that for just $1 or take advantage of the signing day sale, get half off. Corey Bender, Keith Niebuhr, no one doing it better than that duo. We got Zach inside the building today, so updates are flowing in Gators Online. We will see you back here on YouTube at noon. For Corey Bender, I'm Nick Delatorre.